Alright, so we're going into secret legendary territory with this one because we're talking about the disaster level in between Tiger and Demon, aka above Tiger. And yes, it does exist! Well, at least in my opinion it does. So we all know what disaster level Tiger is. It's the one above Wolf and the one below Demon, but more specifically, it's a threat endangering the lives of a great number of people, whatever that means. Apparently that's less than a whole city worth of people, but it's more than a group of people, so yeah. So just like I talked about in my Above Demon and Above Dragon videos, there's monsters that are just a little too powerful for the disaster level class that they are designated to, but not quite powerful enough to jump up to the next level. So that's why they're kind of in that in-between zone. And yes, this in fact exists for Tiger level monsters. And I'm going to be talking about like 4 in this video. I think there's more or less 4 that could fit this designation, but there's one definitive one. And then the other 3 are kind of like debatable, but I just want to mention them because they are up for discussion. But first, let's go into who I consider the definitive above Tiger monster, Kanbu Infinity. So this is the guy that we see in episode 6 of the anime or chapter 20 of the manga, and he has like the seaweed tentacle things coming out of him. And they even kind of say that he's like above Tiger in the series because they're like, there's a threat level Tiger or above or something like that. It depends on what translation you're going off of. But this guy certainly shows power that is more so than that of just a typical Tiger. In fact, that like a lot of people, and I'm sure some of you watching this right now, probably thought that he was like a demon or something. But no, surprisingly, he is a Tiger because it's like later classified in the actual data book that he is such class. So we see this guy just rip up 2 A-class heroes, which is very unlike a Tiger because based off of the comparative scale for disaster level Tiger, it's equatable to like 5 B-class heroes or 1 A-class hero. And Kanbu Infinity essentially low diffs 2 of them in Golden Ball and Spring Mustachio. Like, it didn't really seem like he was struggling at all, especially by the time he was done with Spring Mustachio. Like, he was, like, unfazed by it. He was kind of, this might be going into egregious territory here, but it seems like he had an easier time taking these guys down than Garo did. Now, maybe it's just emphasized for the specific time period that this takes place, but it really did seem that way because he doesn't take any damage. In fact, like, he tanks the golden bullet. He's fast enough to trade blows with Spring Mustachio's, like, hyper-fast sword slashes, and they don't cut him up or anything. And Spring Mustachio even says that his tentacles are as tough as steel. And also, he's super powerful, too. Like, he whips Golden Ball around the little block that they're on, putting them through, like, building stuff and everything, whip them through the ground. So he's pretty powerful, and given the comparative scale is just 1 A-class hero should be enough to take down a Tiger, and he's essentially low diffing 2 of them. I think we're looking at a certified above Tiger here. Now, he's eventually taken out by Saitama, but he's like lives after this. Like at the end of chapter 20, we see like this little thing of him on the ground, like being sad because Saitama took all of his tentacles out, but he's still alive. I mean, he didn't really survive like a strike from Saitama or anything, but he did survive an encounter with him, but yeah. So now I want to go into guys who aren't quite as definitive as Kanbu Infinity is, but it should certainly be in the discussion for this title. So Sludge Jellyfish. This guy has a pretty significant ability. He's like liquid, some kind of goop. I mean, I guess he's sludge, as his name implies, but given that he survived a freaking punch from Garo, like an earnest punch, he's able to regenerate from that. And this even surprises Garo. This is a Tiger surviving an earnest punch from Garo. That's pretty impressive. And also, later on in chapter 97, he survives like an onslaught from Child Emperor with like his bladed weapons, even like his recorder lightsaber thing, and that's no problem for him. It's just coming back. So I guess he's super tanky. Probably like, I don't know, the most tanky or the best regeneration ability of all of the Tigers, which I'm thinking is like pushing him to that above territory. He survived encounters with 2 S-class level dudes, and he's just a freaking Tiger. Now, he's also immune to poison. I mean, he's sludge, so I guess that comes with his territory, but still pretty impressive, I guess. But he is eventually taken out by Child Emperor, who like pumps him full of liquid fuel and then lights him on fire and he explodes. So he's not like invincible, but still pretty impressive for just a tiger. So next we have Withered Sprout. So people wanted me to talk about this guy for a while because he is very interesting. So he is eventually classified as a tiger, but even then it's not really definitive because the bonus chapter that he's coming from, Disaster Level, he starts off as like a dragon, but then that's way too high of an estimation by the Surly brothers, and then he's kind of like downplayed to tiger based off of the Hero Association just hearing about Saitama defeating him, and of course they're not aware of how powerful Saitama is. So I think he's really in a gray area, although he kind of is a tiger more or less, and let me get into that. So his ability is super significant, not just for a tiger, but for any monster to have this. He essentially has cryokinesis. He could just like create ice and like big, significant, giant portions of it, which can take out multiple heroes. I mean, he like easily solos all of the Surly brothers, like Smile Man, who is an A-class hero, A-class rank 27, Crying Man, B-class 69, nice, Angry Man, C rank 225, that's really weak, but still, 3 guys, like one shot, not one shot, but he takes them out, no problem. This ability is pretty powerful, regardless of your disaster level, and he has it, but that's kind of all he has, which I think is holding him back here. So he plays like a coward, like he doesn't want people to like attack him. He just wants to seem like he's really weak, and it's probably because he is really weak. Like he probably has no durability. We don't really get a glimpse of it because Saitama just takes him out with a punch and he snaps in half comically, but I assume that probably anybody like from B and up could probably take care of him no problem, meaning that he's just like a super glass cannon. But still, his ability is so significant that I'm thinking it might push him into like that above tiger territory. And then lastly, we have this new guy who was revealed in the Season 2 OVA, Dirtworm. So he's kind of like Withered Sprout. So his main attribute is like his strength. He can like burrow underground, like something that would be way bigger than him. He's like, it was implied that he took out like a whole subway car or something. And then his most impressive feat, his defining feat, is he was able to lift up like a huge like wall of like soil and concrete and dirt and everything. Like this is a massive wall. Like it's almost like the size of like the front of a building or something. This is like demon level strength, just in my opinion at least. I don't really see any other tigers being able to do something like this, or at least not easily the way that he did. Now, that's pretty much all he could do because he's literally eaten by a bird. It's not like some crazy monster bird. It's just like a regular bird. It's not even like a big bird. So, just like Withered Sprout, this guy is an absolute glass cannon. But even more so than Withered Sprout. I mean, at least he like just got snapped in half by a punch from Saitama. But also, he survived a friggin' punch from Saitama. Well, kind of. Allegedly, he was too small and the punch was too massive for it to hit him. But still, like, he wasn't disintegrated by the shockwave. He was like less than an inch away from that punch. Pretty impressive. So now I just want to go into webcomic spoilers for a little bit to clarify what I've been talking about with these glass cannon guys and how their disaster level relates to that. So if you don't want to know what's going to happen, I suggest you check out now. So Homeless Emperor, probably like the most significant or most powerful, I don't know, glass cannon monster so far, more or less. I mean, he's a dragon based off of basically just his ability of his light sphere energy ball blast things that he could do, and it's so powerful that it just makes him a dragon, because so far it doesn't really seem like he has any kind of other significant attributes to him. I mean, not at least in the manga. Maybe that will change. I mean, we see that he has crazy reflexes because he can move his energy balls fast enough to deflect bullets, but he's easily restrained by Zombie Man, like overpowered, no problem. And that means that any like A-class hero, maybe even some B-class heroes, could overpower Homeless Emperor if they just get the upper hand on him and avoid his light sphere abilities. So that makes him a dragon. So does that mean that the other guys that we looked at in this video become above tigers, or even below demons if their abilities are significant enough, regardless of their other attributes. Just something I wanted to put out there. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. I hope you had fun with this one. Probably not necessary to make, but I'm glad it's out there. It's just something to talk about. Let me know who you think is an above tiger level monster or just being in general. And if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.